All right, unfortunately, dates got messed up, and I am home on quarantine again until October 7th. So these are the notes we went over today in first, second, and third hour. First, second, and third hour. If you need to look at these notes to help understand it again, feel free. Fourth, fifth, and sixth hour, this is your first time hearing the notes. I am going to try to go over them very quickly. Hopefully I can explain it as well as I think I did today in the morning classes. So here we go. We just got done with essential questions 1 and 2, which were over citizenship. And we talked about how citizens are the most important office in the land. We elect our leaders, therefore we have the true power over them. But once we elect our leaders, we really are hands off then on government. We don't have anything else to do with government. To see this, once I voted in every election since I was 18 years old, but I have never passed a law in Congress. I have never met with world leaders over a trade agreement as our president does, and I've never made a decision on a Supreme Court case. So once we elect our leaders, then how can we still have power? Well, this essential question here is over political parties, and political parties are a way that we can have a say in government. You can see the definition here of political party. A political party is an organization that seeks power by having its members elected to office. It says there on letter B that these are people that are similar with their ideas. And so what a political party is it's a group of people that all have the same ideology. Your ideology is your beliefs, your ideas on different topics. Ideologies are liberal or conservative. When we're talking political parties here, we're talking Republicans and Democrats, but with ideologies, it's liberal and conservative. You have your beliefs on those, and people that have similar beliefs come together. They form a group. This is a political party, and a political party's goal is to create a platform. You can see that term down there on number 2, letter C. A platform is just like what you think it would be. If you look at a deck in your backyard, it's built with different pieces of wood, planks of wood, and it creates a big platform that you can stand on. A platform are the different issues, the planks are the different issues, and these different issues are put together into a platform, and it's the big idea that a political party says we are going to stand on. This is what we want to accomplish. So a political party is a bunch of different people that have the same beliefs. They create in their political party all the ideas that they want to work for to have the government get done, and then they try to get people elected that are like them to get these issues done. So a political party gives you a voice in government because once you vote, if you're a member of a political party, now you can decide what the leaders are going to work on, and you can also decide which leaders are you going to put up to be elected and hope that people like you are put into office. Now, political parties are nowhere in the Constitution. They are not something that our government needs to have to operate. The reason we have them is it gives us a voice in government, as we just talked about, and it makes voting easier. If I don't know anything about either candidate in an election, if I don't know anything about Donald Trump or Joe Biden, if I have a basic understanding of what a Democrat believes in and what a Republican believes in, and I know which party each of those men belongs to, I can have an idea of which of the two candidates would most help my life and make an informed vote. So political parties are important. Even though they're not needed in our government, they are important and they make voting easier. They give us a way to have a voice. Going back to the whole joining a political party, many people in our country will say, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, but unless you pay the money to the political party, you're really just an American who shares their beliefs. Joining a political party is what gives you a say in their platform and their ideas that they want government to work on. The last thing on this page of notes that you can see in the video is in our country, we have 2 major parties. We have the Democrats and Republicans. With these 2 parties, one of them is going to have more people in government and have more power. The other is going to have fewer people in government and fewer power. When we think of them as fewer and more people, we're actually talking about votes. You need votes to get things done. The group that has more people and therefore has more votes is called the majority. And the majority party's job is to get their platform done. If your political party comes up with, these are the issues we want to work on, and here they all are together that we want to accomplish, if you have the votes in government to get these things done, then your job is to get them done and make the country better in the way you want. That is the majority's job. The minority party's job is to be a watchdog. And if you think of at your house, if you have a dog you'd consider a watchdog, their job is when something is happening dangerous at your home to bark, to let people know there is a problem. That is the minority party's job. If you want to think of it in terms of your life, think of if 3 people are driving in a car together. 2 people want to go to Taco Bell. One person says, Taco Bell makes me violently ill. Well, if there's a vote, it's going to be 2-1. We're going to Taco Bell, even if the one person just doesn't want to go there. That's how political parties work. The majority gets their way. They get to do what they want. And the minority can complain. They can tell people, if we go there, I will throw up. I will make this car disgusting. I will pout. I will cry. I will be very upset with you, friends. But unless the majority wants to change their way, the minority is going to have to go where the majority says. Now, the reason they are watchdogs is because maybe the majority, if an issue is that big of a problem, they might say, we need to vote on this issue to help out everyone and not just look out for ourselves, kind of getting into the idea of common good we've talked about before. That's the basics of these notes. I went through these very quickly. If you need any more help, please ask, but we will definitely be going over this a little more when I get back in about a week. Now, this next page of notes is just over, I had talked about in our country, we have two major parties, the Republicans and Democrats. There are three different types of political party systems in the world. The first type of political party system is called a one-party system. These are countries where they only have one political party. This is usually a dictatorship. In these countries, when you go and vote, you do get to vote, but there's only one person on the ballot. There's only one choice to vote for. So when you go in to vote, you don't have any choice. If you hate the candidate you have to choose from, too bad. The positive of a one-party system, and it's not really a great positive, is that you always know what you're going to get. If the leader is bad, if they take away your rights, if they violate your humanity, at least you know how to prepare for that. So that's a one-party system, not a great type of government to have. Our country, we have a two-party system. And in our country, hopefully you realize we do have third parties in our country. There aren't just two political parties. There are hundreds of political parties in America. But we consider ourselves to have a two-party system because we have two major parties that win almost every election, the Republicans and Democrats. All of our smaller parties are labeled just as third parties. We'll talk about those another day this week. But in our two-party system, the good thing about a two-party system is the negative of the one-party system. We have a choice. In every election, you're going to have the choice between the Republicans and the Democrats. You could think of this as A and B, up and down, left and right, black and white. They're complete opposites usually. They usually are very different on major issues. And that's good. That way, when we go and vote, if we have a topic we care a lot about or a few topics we care a lot about, we can decide which of the candidates best fits with what we want in a leader. So a two-party system, the great thing there is we get a choice. The negative in a two-party system is that, as we saw earlier with the Taco Bell example, one side is going to win and get their way. The other side is going to lose and feel upset. And if the two sides decide not to compromise, government still goes on. Just one side feels like they are getting treated unfairly. Now, to give an example of how one-party and two-party systems look, imagine that we have won a contest here at Union High School where we get free ice cream for a month, and we have to decide what kind of ice cream we're going to get. If we were a one-party system, Mrs. Kane would come in and say, here's your ballots. You get to vote on what kind of ice cream you want. And when we get our ballot, it simply just says chocolate. And we get to choose chocolate ice cream, and that's it. If you hate chocolate ice cream, the good thing is you know you're getting chocolate ice cream. You can prepare on those days when everybody else is eating chocolate. You can bring in your own treat, okay? The negative is there's no choice. If you wanted chocolate or another ice cream to choose from, you don't get that. So that's how a one-party system works. With a two-party system, we might come in and Mrs. Kane would say, here's your ballots, and we'd have vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream to vote for. Two completely different ice creams. We get to vote which one we want. At the end of the day, you feel good because you did get a choice. The negative is if your choice didn't win and you really hate the other flavor, you're just kind of out of luck. And that's how we feel sometimes if you're a Democrat and the Republican wins the election, you're upset. Same thing with if you're a Republican and the Democrat wins an election, you might be upset, but that's the way it works. Now, the third type of party system is a multi-party system. You find these a lot of times in Europe. And what you'd have here is you might have 14 or 15 different major parties. We're not talking here third parties, smaller parties. We're talking 14 or 15 different parties that are all powerful, like our Republicans and Democrats. The positive here is, and I'll go back to our ice cream example, if Mrs. Kane walked in with a ballot and said, here are 8 different ice creams to vote from, choose which one you want, we'd all feel like we had a lot of choice, and that's great. But the problem is, if all of us voted, let's say the ice cream that got the most votes was cookie dough with 4 votes in our classroom. That's great. It got the most votes. But if we have 18 people in class and only 4 people voted for cookie dough, it doesn't have a majority. Out of 18 people, we would need 10 votes to get the majority. So now we've got a problem. Yeah, we had a lot of choice, but we didn't get a majority. So the con here is, if we don't do something about it, we're going to end up not getting any ice cream. In these European countries, if they can't get the multiple parties to work together, they can never get a majority, and then nothing gets done. The government shuts down. So the positive of a multi-party is these different political parties know that they have to work together. And so unlike in our country, where you might not get compromise, where the party that's the majority just does what they want, in these other countries, the parties have to work together to get something accomplished. You end up with a lot more working together and compromise. But the negative is, if you can't get there, the government just shuts down. In our country, when we don't get compromise, we just have hurt feelings, but stuff still gets accomplished. Those are the 3 different types of political party systems. Like I said, I went through this very quickly. Today, when we went over it, it took 20 to 25 minutes. This was a 12-minute video, just trying to keep it quick. We will go over it a little more sometime in the future. But I just wanted to hit on this real quickly. Hopefully those of you who didn't get to see me today, this helps out enough to get us through. Thanks.